And with that, let's go ahead and get this run started in 3, 2, 1, go. And the first thing we need to do is actually go into this dream sequence with a gypsy where we're going to do most of our character creation process. This introduces the 8 virtues to the player, and by choosing between each of these choices, I'm going to actually get the stats that I'll have for this playthrough of the game. I'm looking for virtues that are going to give me a lot of strength. Let's see, we'll take Valor over Spirit. Valor's our best one at +3 strength overall. Sacrifice sounds good. And there's a 1 in 7 chance that the route that I want to use is not going to have enough strength with the character creation, but I do have a backup in case that comes to pass. All right, 1 more Valor. That looks like we are probably going to be good, so I'm going to cross my fingers, and we'll find out a couple minutes in whether or not we got the strength that we're looking for here. And this is a glitchless playthrough, so while there might be some minor creative differences with the developer's intention, for the most part, we're not going to have any fancy tricks or unexpected things happen during this run, I can promise you that. All right, first things up. Let's go ahead and chat with our faux Lord British. He's got us a couple of copy protection questions. This was really common back in the early 1990s. So Hillis, produced by Wizardry, Trolls Lacks Endurance, Reapers of the Rhythm of Enchantment. All right, we've been authenticated as legitimate owners of this game. We'll also activate this item called the Black Orb, which we're using quite extensively. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, let me go ahead and relieve myself of some of these NPC companions. They're very loyal, but unfortunately, I would like to do this one alone. So let's go ahead and get them poisoned as well as thrown on fire, because probably they deserve that. All right, Dupre, I would like you to not drag my party with me. There we go. That's better. Move you around there. Looking better. Do the same for YOLO here. And let's see, can I get the boots over from that distance? Do it that way. Excellent. All right. A couple things that we're not going to need to reduce our carrying capacity down to a more manageable level. And let's see how everybody's doing. YOLO, I need you to be more poison, please. All right. How about that? There we go. And good. So the avatar got poisoned, which we will need to fix, but we should be okay here. And back to the Castle of Britannia we go. So killing NPCs off has a couple of functions. It's going to get me a lot less lag on the screen, as well as when we're sneaking around to different places. I want to make sure that I can get through unobstructed without having to worry about them getting spotted by enemies. Go ahead and drink that so we're not poisoned anymore. Confirm that we're good. Yeah, looks like we're fine. And Lord Bruce has given me permission to take anything I want out of his castle. Quite the foolish thing, because I want many of his valuable items, as well as his mouse here, which we're going to be borrowing for a little bit. Sherry, please come with me on my quest. Thank you very much. Now, we will not be able to take things throughout the rest of the realm without getting punished quite severely. This game is really about morality. That was something that was very unique at the time, to have a really in-depth system where your actions make a difference. As you travel throughout the world, the people you interact with are going to treat you very differently, depending on what you do to them. And throughout the early part of the main storyline, we're going to be finding the 8 runes of virtue here, which Lord British has not done a particularly good job of hiding them here. In fact, you should probably not give your important magical items to 6-year-olds if you want them to stay safe. And the search for the runes is something that probably occupies most people's playthroughs. It takes about 3 to 4 hours per rune in order to go around to all the different NPCs of the realm, find out what they're up to, and uncover the riddles and mysteries. By the way, that's rune number 2. We are just done with that. And I think I'm going to have Sherry leave the party now. She's a great mouse, very smart. I'm sure she can get her way home back to Britain on no trouble whatsoever. As we head up here, going to grab a 3rd rune. You would think that they wouldn't just leave them sitting around gathering dust in this boat, left unattended. Probably somebody should take care of that. I think I will handle that nicely, and head over to do a little bit of spell shopping here. The spell system of Ultima is generally pretty rich overall. It has a lot of influences from Dungeons & Dragons in its history. So you have a spell system that is going to be involving, different levels of power that you have to level up for. We're not going to get any levels throughout this playthrough. In fact, we'll try and avoid combat as much as possible to make our lives easier throughout this. Let me unlock this altar first. All right. And we'll do some meditation here because meditation makes us feel a lot better. It also helps improve our karma. Karma is something that is quite fundamental to how this game works. There's a hidden stat that starts at 75, and every time that you do a bad deed, whether it's stealing, murdering, lying to people, your karma goes down slightly. And this has a lot of consequences, which you're going to see that we're going to do a significant amount of borrowing here for just a second. If your karma goes below 50, which is what the speedrun basically is designed to just barely clip over the threshold for, but under 50, you wouldn't be able to finish the game. And so we have to do a little bit of safety for marathon purposes to make sure that we're not going to have any problems there. Let's go ahead and borrow a couple more items, and especially with our quest to kill Lord British, we might have to do a few extra things. Not normally part of the speedrun. All right, let's see. All right, we do have enough strength, so that's looking good. That's my test right there at 47 stones, the most we ever need to carry throughout this adventure here. The other thing that I will talk about is this Orb of the Moons I've been using to travel around. Lord Blackthorn, Lord British, and other famous figures of the Ultima series presumably have one of these for their convenient transport, but you're given it as the player without any real direction of what it does. And it turns out that unraveling its mystery is kind of a major point of this game. There's one spot where you do need to figure out the orb, but for the most part, I recommend you're doing a casual playthrough. Try and walk around as much as possible. Learn about the land and all the different things that you can find in here, and only use the orb when necessary. There's a lot of dangerous areas that it can throw you off to unprepared, and you can even have some things that might make the game unwinnable if you choose poorly and get into places where you shouldn't ahead of time. But the other thing that you'll see for travel around here is these blue moon gates as well. The red moon gates I create with the orb are the fast travel points that I can kind of control, and the blue ones are a time of day system that's been used throughout the Ultima series. They generally go to certain key areas that you're going to see throughout the land. Let's go ahead and grab a couple more spells. Even though there is, I think, 81 spells in this game, we actually need far fewer. Only 3 needed to actually complete the game here. And we just have acquired all of them there. So we are looking good for that. I'll go ahead and save. Speedrun you wouldn't be normally saving, but again, for marathon safety, if I make any slight mistakes, I want to make sure that I can back up for a small amount to correct those. Ooh, I see that sea serpent up there is going to be on my tail here. And heading over for a little bit of travel, there is a nice little reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, this island terrorized by these killer white rabbits. And while I'm navigating through those and heading on to another bit of the storyline, which is a quest to build a hot air balloon, Kyle, why don't you go ahead and read a couple donations that we have accumulated here.
You got it. Well, first off, I need to ask Cute Chat for a favor. We are only $40 away from the Franker Z% for Journey to the Savage Planet, so make sure you get your donations towards that. And speaking of Monty Python references, we've got $250 from Naughty Zoot, as my older brother passed away from cancer in 2006. One of his favorite game series when we were growing up was the Ultima series. I remember fondly watching him play Ultima VI when it was brand new, and have always associated the series as some of the happiest moments I have of the mutual love of RPGs we shared. I remember it being a quite longer game, so I'm excited to see how it gets demolished. Here's to hoping this donation can help prevent the fate my brother had for others in the future. Thank you so much, Naughty Zoo, for your donation. I've got another $250 donation from Ghost. It says, had to stay up to donate during the Ultima run. I really enjoyed this as a kid and still have the cloth map that came with it. Looking forward to seeing it taken apart, even if it doesn't involve casting time stop on the run clock. And I've got $25 from Rinny Boo. It says, never played the Ultima series, but excited to watch. Well, we're excited to have you watch, Rinny.
Nice. It's glad to hear so many good memories about the Ultima series. Go ahead, keep reading some more donations here.
Yeah, you got it. $100 from Corsair says, thanks for running this, Gyre. also my favorite in the Ultima series, and my very first RPG I played as a child. It took me hours to get out of the castle. Thank you so much for that donation. Thylexes gives $10 and says, the Ultima series were a staple of my childhood, and I'm super excited to see it played at AGDQ 2021.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely really excited to play this game. This is one of the ones that I did have a lot of nostalgia for. I picked up Ultima 6 shortly after it came out. Got a big collection of Ultima 4, 5, and 6 on 5.25-inch floppy disks. And those are fond memories of playing through these games. It did take a little bit longer, I think, than the speedrun does now. But I've had to do some crafty management of my invisibility ring. Those items had a random expiration time, and ours broke particularly early in there, so I'm making sure that we can keep the other one safely intact for later on in the game where it's important. And down here, I'm going to grab another wonderful item of the Ultima series, the glass sword, which is a pretty famous item throughout there. We'll be using that a bit later on. We also have a lot of Easter eggs in here. There's a crypt in this place called the Crypt of Romero, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to John Romero, who, before working at id Software on games like Doom, had a brief time at Origin. And I think that they have a reference to him, as well as many other of the developers. This was a company that brought in a lot of their in-house talent and gave them little cameo appearances and guest NPCs and characters throughout, which is a nice touch. Right now I'm going backwards through a dungeon that normally would be one of the longest and most difficult dungeons of the game. But by going in the exit side, we can quickly reach our objective here, which is learning a little bit more about the gargoyles. Gargoyles are a race that you see earlier in the Ultima series, and they generally are demons or balrogs or things like that that are meant to be big, scary monsters, but there's something a little bit weird about them in this one, and it has kind of changed how we are experiencing and kind of interacting with them. We'll find more out about the gargoyles over the course of this adventure. Lord British, of course, thinks that they are an evil race and should be destroyed, but I'm not certain. I think they might be on our side. We did see gargoyles attack Lord British at the start, which is a pretty strong sign that they may be do-gooders. And speaking of Lord British, as night falls in Britannia, it is time to go ahead and find out if we can bring the evil tyrant to justice. Lord British has been ruling over this land since time immemorial. And what has it gotten us? We have all of these outdated systems, problems that happen on a regular basis. Clearly, Lord British is at fault for this. And Lord British, invincible, invulnerable, has a secret weakness. So in the game's programming, the way that it implements sleeping characters is it will have a different script temporarily on there so they can wake up. And the normal script that makes Lord British invulnerable is not going to play, but he still has the maximum health of the game. Oh, nice. Sure, he's giving him a bedtime story there. And so what we're going to do is wait for him to go to sleep, equip the glass sword, which does maximum damage as a special effect, and with that, the Tyrant of Britannia has been killed. Lord British knocked off at last. And hopefully, our realm is the better for it. It's always fun. Lord British is obviously not intended to be killable, although there is some Easter eggs in Ultima 7, referencing a time that a sign fell off the side of the Origin Systems building and injured him there. By the way, Lord British, one of his many misdeeds, allowing the scourge of spontaneous human combustion to persist in the land of Britannia, the sixth leading cause of death today. What a tragic shame. Look, more victims of spontaneous human combustion here as we find a rune of sacrifice. But you know who fights spontaneous human combustion? The Prevent Cancer Foundation. And Kyle, can you tell us some about the Prevent Cancer Foundation and the donations that we are getting from them today?
Absolutely. We've got a $25 donation from Code and Data that says, Franker Z% go. And we did meet that, so thank you so much for pulling that in here at the last minute. That is the next run. And we have $25 from Pavel Simazowski. Says, Avatar, beware of the jesters, for although they amuse, they may also deceive. Storm Cujo gives $25. Says, as gamers, we have defeated minions, mobs, and bosses. Now we gather together to defeat cancer. Good luck, runners, and thank you to the tech team for making this possible. Go fast. You can hear by the keyboard tapping that we are definitely going fast right now. We've got $25 from Big People School. It says, excellent speed runs to start off what I hope will be an excellent year. Thank you to all the runners, the GDQ staff, and everyone else who came together to make sure that this amazing event can happen. And as Jair mentioned, these donations are all going towards the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Their vision is to stop cancer before it starts. If you want information, check out pcf@preventcancer.org. I've got $108 from 8-Bit Beard. Great name, no comment. Thank you so much. Darth Acalia gives $25, says, I woke up extra early on the last day of my holiday, especially for my Ultima game. Super excited to see this run and donating because Ultima taught me that compassion is a virtue. Video games are teaching people wonderful things.
Well, humility is also a virtue. We have actually picked up the last rune of virtue right there, so we're doing good on our main storyline. We have a couple more things to pick up for our big balloon quest. That is something that occupies another large chunk of the game here. And we are just about done with putting that thing together. The only final bit that we have, Lord British at the earlier parts of the game has sealed the moonstones in order to prevent them from falling into the hands of the gargoyles. We need to fix that because, of course, anything Lord British did probably is for nefarious purposes. Let me reload that. That was really bad right there. I don't know where I got sent back to. Okay, we're back here at the cube. Sorry about that, I accidentally clicked my balloon when I didn't want to. Kyle, you can go ahead and read some more donations while I repeat that little stretch.
Yeah, you got it. $25 from Tony Pizziide. It says, Ultima 6 completely changed my perspective on video games, but I'm pretty sure it took me more than 24 minutes to finish it. Keep up the good work, guys. I think it took most people more than 24 minutes to finish it.
Just a little bit on the average one.
And I've got $25 from Norwegian Legion. It says, GDQ's and PCF's efforts in preventing cancer is a shining beacon of hope in the current times. Thank you all for everything you do. So thank you, Norwegian Legion, for your $25 donation, and to everyone watching and participating in AGDQ 2021. Got a $25 from Mike Free. It just says, let's keep it going. Hype!
Definitely, and now we are back to where we were. You can read a little bit more donations out here while I'm doing this, but keep up those donation trains and keep going for those incentives we got coming up. Lots of nice games in the near future here.
That's right. We've got $25 from Thawed. This is interesting. He says, fun fact, I know a fair few characters mentioned in this game in the real world. Lolo is a real crossbow maker whose work has appeared in museums and TV shows. Shamino is another alias of Lord British, and Tivar Moondragon, who appears in this game, or at least in most Ultima series, sadly lost his battle with cancer this year. This donation is in his honor.
And jumping back into our storyline here, we finally have made our way into the Gargoyle Realm, where we find out that, in reality, these were not the evil creatures we thought they were, and they tie into the events of the early parts of the series. Ultima 4, as part of the quest of the Avatar, we went into the Stygian Abyss and got this item called the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom. And taking that artifact out evidently has destabilized the Gargoyle Realm. So it was all a misunderstanding. When Lord British panicked and started a war against the gargoyles, that was, in fact, something that we now need to correct. And we have a couple of magical artifacts to go and do that with. One of the things that I haven't talked about much over this is that this is the first Ultima game with a flat overworld map. You don't have any of the side areas and little castles to go into. It's all one big expanse, which is a really big technological innovation at the time. Something that was very impressive compared to a lot of games of the era. And one thing that really got me into this in the first place, because you could actually go and explore. You just start walking in any direction and come across different sites. It made the game have a lot more realism in terms of the layout of the towns. You know, are you a rural city? Are you a suburban city? Do you have a nice big metropolis? And I always appreciated how it worked. And once I got more understanding of the game internally, it was also really neat seeing how some of the internal dungeon pieces functioned as well. They all share common maps, and they intertwine around one another in order to make sure that you can not see the different parts as you go throughout there. I've got one last bit that I'm doing for the main storyline, gathering all of these moonstones here. So Kyle, you can go ahead and read out a couple more donations while I clean this bit up, and we will head into the endgame.
You got it. We've got $250 from Zach, no comment, but thank you so much for that generous donation. We've got $10 from Recreator, who says less than 3. Well, less than 3 right back to you, my friend. And Raid Runner gives $100. Says good luck, great cause. AA Ron gives $25. Says my sister beat breast cancer twice 7 years ago. I'm happy to say I DJ'd her wedding Saturday. What a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing, AA Ron. And Noxious Wolf 13 gives $25 and says, Hark! Is that the call of Adlib I hear? Loving the Ultima run. Here's to you from Australia.
Awesome. I love the music in these games as well. The sound effects and graphics for this was a really well done bit as well. When this game first came out, it was pretty uncommon to have a sound card. And so I started off with the bleeps and bloops for a long time and didn't get to experience some of the really neat game sound until playing this on some of these collections that are available now. GOG.com has the Ultima series off, usually for $1 or $2 for each of the games when they're on sale. Highly recommend you check them out if you are excited about these. And I also will do one small additional thing. Since we did kill Lord British, it is only fitting that we bring him with us to the ending of this game here. So I'll go ahead and make our last bit of quest items. If we're not killing Lord British, my best time throughout this is about 17.5 minutes. I think that can come down probably to about a 17, 15, but would love to see more ideas for routing and people interested in the Ultima games in general. Go ahead and try it out. All right, so we have one Lord British on the throne of sacrifice here. Go down, put our decorative lenses in place, our vortex cube, and with that, Ultima VI has been completed. We have made it to the end and blasted the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom as well as, hopefully, cross your fingers, is Lord British truly dead? No! The corpse of Lord British, zombie Lord British, has arisen from the grave once again. I was hoping that this time we would have put him down for good, but maybe in the future, someone will do Ultima 7 and we will have a chance, once again, to take out Lord British. And as we go through here, I'm going to give a couple of quick shout-outs. First out to Squibbins, who is a big runner of the Ultima series. Squibbins works extensively on all the Ultima games, including the routing for Ultima 6. She currently is doing a randomizer for the Super Nintendo version of Ultima 6. I recommend you check it out. I also want to give a shout-out to Richard Garriott, who for 40 years has been involved in this series and still has a lot of passion with the story and the players that got connected. The nostalgia for the game is really tremendous. Even today, if you tell Richard Garriott that you have beaten an Ultima game, he'll often tweet back at you and congratulate you on the playthrough, as well as offer some words of wisdom and advice throughout there, assuming that he's not in space, of course. And here today, as we have the conclusion of Ultima 6, which we have beaten in but a single in-game day. I hope you enjoy the show. Once again, I am Jair, and please enjoy the rest of Awesome Games Done Quick. See you around, everybody.